You were taught to be nice, to be agreeable, to fit in, not because it made you strong, but because it made you manageable. They told you it was kindness, compassion, good character, but it was submission, coding fear in virtue. And every time you chose comfort over conflict, silence over truth, tolerance over strength, you became weaker, softer, smaller. Nietzsche warned of this. That morality is often a cage, built by the weak to contain the strong. The rules you obey are not always yours. They're installed. Like chains disguised as ethics, you feel anxious, directionless, empty, not because you lack freedom, but because you still live under the laws of what broke you. The first step to liberation isn't forgiveness. It's rage. Rage at the lies that made you tame. Rage at the softness you called peace. Rage at the identity built on pleasing others, avoiding conflict, playing safe. You don't need another motivational quote. You need a clean break from the systems that trained you to kneel. You cannot be free while you protect the past that weakened you. You cannot grow while you cling to what once comforted you. And you cannot rise until you hate the part of you that surrendered. Freedom demands fire, and it begins with turning on the lies you once called truth. Weakness doesn't always look like fear. Sometimes it looks like manners, like compromise, like being reasonable. You are rewarded for it. Smile when you're angry. Be polite when you're dying inside. They called it maturity, but Nietzsche would call it decay. A slow surrender of your will in exchange for being liked. What they don't tell you is this: the things that weaken you are seductive. They feel safe. Approval, comfort, familiarity. But that safety is a prison. And the longer you live in it, the less you remember who you were before it. Nietzsche called this the morality of the herd. A system designed not for greatness, but for predictability. And the worst part? Eventually, you start defending your cage. You rationalize your limits. You mock the strong. You say, not everyone wants power, when deep down, you do. You've been trained to fear your own intensity, to apologize for your hunger, to dilute your vision until it offends no one. But freedom doesn't come through gentleness. It comes through rupture. You must break allegiance with what made you weak. Not gently, not gradually, with violence. Spiritual, mental, moral. And when you finally hate the lie enough to walk away from it, you will hear something you haven't heard in years. Your own voice, unfiltered, unashamed, alive. Niceness is not virtue. It's a strategy taught to you when you were too young to question it. Be nice, they said, and you obeyed, even when your soul screamed, even when you knew it was wrong, because niceness was survival. It got you approval, attention, temporary peace. But here's the truth. Niceness often masks fear. Fear of rejection, fear of confrontation, fear of being too much. Nietzsche knew this disease. He called it the death of the will. When a man buries his instincts under the weight of social expectation, he doesn't become civilized. He becomes harmless. You are not made to be harmless. You are made to be powerful and to choose restraint. That's not the same as being soft. Niceness says, don't speak your truth. Someone might get hurt. Strength says, speak it, because someone might wake up. You cannot be free while you still worship at the altar of being liked. Niceness enslaves you to the moods of others. It trains you to betray yourself with a smile. If you want to overcome weakness, you must let go the need to be liked. You must offend. You must confront. You must be willing to walk alone, hated, but whole. Freedom is not found in being agreeable. It's found in being authentic. Even when that authenticity burns every bridge you were taught to depend on. You say you want strength, freedom, power, but your actions say otherwise. You cling to comfort like it's salvation. The soft bed, the easy scroll, the low-stakes job. And still, you wonder, why do I feel weak? Why does life feel so small? Nietzsche warned of this trap. That man, in escaping pain, also escapes greatness, because all strength is forged through friction, and you've made it your God to avoid all of it. Comfort is not rest. Comfort is decay disguised as reward. It's what? They feed you to keep you docile, passive, polite, predictable. You were not born to be safe. You were born to burn, to press against the edge of who you are until something breaks or becomes. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you confirm the lie. I am not strong enough for the fire, but you are, the real you, buried under years of sedation, is still there, waiting, watching, burning dot, and that version of you does not want peace. He wants battle dot, so start small. Wake up earlier. Speak harder truths. Choose silence over distraction. Build pain tolerance like a warrior sharpens his blade, until comfort becomes disgusting, until your soul spits it out, until you crave what once scared you, because that is the beginning of real strength, disgust for the softness that killed your edge. You were told to be gentle with your pain, to sit with it, to coddle it, to let it move through you. But Nietzsche would spit on this softness. Pain is not a pet, it's a predator, and the longer you feed it, the stronger it becomes. Been taught that healing is comfort, that growth is self-care, that strength is talking about your wounds endlessly. But healing does not happen in the dark. It happens under pressure, under fire, under force. You cannot heal by hiding. You heal by becoming dangerous again. The wounds you carry are not just stories, they are shackles. And every time you revisit them without action, you reinforce the identity of the wounded. Nietzsche believed in transformation through confrontation. He did not romanticize suffering. He demanded that you rise above it or be devoured by it. So ask yourself, do I want to be seen as someone healing or someone healed? If it's the latter, you must stop worshiping the wound and start building. The weapon. Talk less, train more, feel less, forge more. Don't journal it, break it, because the man who overcomes does not seek sympathy. He seeks strategy. He does not perform pain. He transcends it. And when you stop using your weakness as identity, you'll finally meet the version of you who doesn't need saving anymore. They say forgiveness sets you free. But what if that's another lie to keep you quiet? What if forgiveness, in some cases, is just another word for submission? A way to pretend you're healed while the damage still controls you? Nietzsche didn't believe in passive virtues. He believed in transformation, and transformation is war. You are broken by systems, people, ideas. And now you're told to let it go, be the bigger person, don't carry resentment. But here's the truth. Sometimes resentment is the first sign of awakening, not the end of healing. The beginning. It means something in you still knows. This wasn't right. This wasn't strength. This made me smaller. You cannot rise while you protect the forces that shrunk you. You cannot evolve while making peace with the very things that twisted your spirit into a shape it was never meant to be. Forgiveness without power is self-abandonment. Don't forgive what you haven't outgrown. Don't make peace with what you haven't destroyed. When you lie and say, it's okay, you bury the very fire that could free you. Nietzsche would say, don't forgive until you've become so strong you no longer need to. Let the hate fuel you. Let the memory sharpen you, until the version of you who was broken is only a ghost in the rear view of someone unrecognizable. From the moment you showed strength, they told you to tone it down. You are too intense, too ambitious, too serious. But what they really meant was, you made them uncomfortable. So you learned to dim yourself, to speak softer, to think smaller, to keep your vision hidden under layers of politeness and self-doubt. And yet you wonder, why do I feel so empty? Nietzsche saw this clearly. Society fears the powerful individual, not because he's evil, but because he's free. Free from guilt, free from consensus, free from needing permission to exist at full volume. They didn't kill your power. They convinced you it was wrong to use it. So you became likable, harmless, forgettable. But the hunger never left. It just went underground, rotting, restless, waiting. And now you have a choice. Keep hiding your strength and call it humility, or let it erupt and call it rebirth. You are not made to be accepted. You are made to be unchained. Stop apologizing for your fire. Stop shrinking to soothe the weak. Start walking like someone who remembers. He was never meant to crawl, because your freedom won't come from fitting in. It will come from unleashing what they tried to bury. You think you ought to be free, but are you willing to destroy what makes you feel safe? Nietzsche wrote that most people prefer a lie that comforts over a truth that burns. Why? Because truth has consequences. It demands you change or collapse. Illusion of freedom is everywhere. In your job, your relationships, your routine. You're free to choose, they say, but they never taught you how to choose power. Only safety. Only obedience with better branding. You are trained to be free within a box, to think inside frameworks designed by others, to live just bold enough to feel unique, but never dangerous enough to threaten the system that shaped you. This is not freedom. It's a performance, and it ends the moment you wake up to it, the moment you hate the illusion more than you fear the unknown. You are reborn, but it will cost you. You will lose people. You will lose comfort. You will lose the fragile sense of certainty that once kept you numb. And in that void, your real life begins. Not the life others built for you, not the life you tolerated, but the life that makes you feel like fire again. Freedom is not given. It is seized with eyes open and bridges burning. It starts with the death of your illusions. Everyone wants to evolve until they realize what evolution demands. It doesn't ask for motivation. It asks for sacrifice. You will not become who you were meant to be without betraying who you've been taught to be. That means burning identities, letting go of the version of you that everyone applauded, but that secretly suffocated your soul. Nietzsche didn't teach self-improvement. He taught self-overcoming, the violent process of rising above your own history, your culture, your comfort, your past self. You want to be free? Then let the old version of you die, the one that kept the peace, the one that avoided risk, the one that made others comfortable by staying small. That self must be destroyed, not mourned. But here's what one tells you. Becoming strong is lonely. Liberation is cold at first. When you stop needing approval, the silence is deafening. When you stop living for others, the void is real. That's why most people never finish the process. They taste solitude and run back to the herd. But if you stay in the fire, if you stand in that silence long enough, something begins to emerge. Not the new you, the real you, the one that was buried under years of pretending. And that self doesn't ask for freedom. It takes it. Freedom offends those who are still chained. The moment you rise, the moment you break the pattern, refuse the script, say no to weakness, you become a mirror that shows others what they could have been if they had chosen differently. And they will hate you for it. Not because you harmed them, but because you exposed their comfort as cowardice. Nietzsche called them the herd. Not evil, just afraid. Afraid of freedom. Afraid of truth. Afraid of the burden of choice. So when you step out, when you start speaking truth without apology, when you prioritize power over approval, they will mock you. You've changed, they'll say. You're too cold, too intense, too arrogant. But what they really mean is, you're no longer weak with us. You cannot take the herd with you into greatness. They don't want to climb. They want company. They will try to pull you back. With guilt, with shame, with memories of who you used to be. But that man is dead. And freedom means you don't resurrect him just to make others feel safe. You're not here to be understood. You're here to become untouchable. Let them whisper. Let them mock. Let them call you ruthless. They're right. You are Dot, and now you're free. Some limits are real. Most are inherited. You didn't choose your beliefs. They were planted by teachers, by parents, by culture, by a world that profits from you staying small. Know your place. Don't be selfish. Stay humble. And just like that, your potential was caged, not by force, but by suggestion. Nietzsche knew the greatest slavery is the one that feels like morality. So here's the truth. You don't need to make peace with your limits. You need to interrogate them, choke them, break them. Ask, who gave me this rule? Who benefits if I obey it? What part of me dies every time I comply? Freedom means war, not with the world, but with the soft boundaries inside you that whisper, this is enough. Don't push, don't want more. You weren't born with those voices. You absorbed them. And now it's your job to unlearn them. Test every belief. Challenge every rule. Push your body, your mind, your will until you find the edge. And then break through it. You will not be free until you stop calling your cage home. Freedom does not live in peace with limits. It devours them. Freedom is not the absence of structure. It is the ability to choose your structure and master it. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, sleeping in, scrolling endlessly, following every impulse. But that's not freedom. That's slavery to comfort, to dopamine, to the shallow urges that keep you weak. Nietzsche believed in the will to power, an inner force that disciplines itself, not because it must, but because it can. Discipline is not punishment. It is precision. It is self-respect in action. It's waking up when no one's watching, training when no one claps, thinking when the world is asleep. Most people avoid discipline because it makes them uncomfortable. But discomfort is not your enemy. It is your edge, your mirror. Your teacher? Want to be free? Then earn it. Build rituals that make you unbreakable. Cut distractions. Conquer urges. Trade ease for excellence, not once, but daily, is the evidence of a man who knows who he is, not reactive, not lost, focused, unshakable, because the world cannot control a man who controls himself. So stop chasing motivation. Build the machine. Freedom without discipline is collapse in disguise. But freedom with discipline is unstoppable. You say you want to change, but are you ready to pay the price? Because transformation isn't a glow-up. It's a death sentence. The moment you choose truth, the old version of you starts to die. The people who like that version disappear. The routines collapse. The identities you wore for safety fall apart. And this is where most people turn back. They thought change meant upgrades, but it means sacrifice. Nietzsche knew, to become, you must shed. Like a snake, you must leave behind the skin of who you were, even if it still feels warm, even if it still fits. This is the part they don't glamorize. The isolation, the confusion, the terrifying sense that nothing familiar remains. But that is the path, not a detour, the way, because what's waiting on the other side is not just a better version of you. It's the real you. The one you've never fully met, the one who doesn't flinch, who doesn't need permission, who doesn't negotiate with fear. You can't drag your old life into your new one. You have to burn it. Fully. No souvenirs. No backdoors. And when you do, when the smoke clears and the silence sets in, you'll realize you never needed saving. You only needed to stop protecting what was killing you. There comes a moment, one final violent act, where you stop negotiating with the old you, not out of hate, but out of respect for what you could become. This is not motivation, not a phase, not healing. This is reconstruction through fire. Nietzsche said, one must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. The chaos is necessary. The collapse is essential, because from the ashes, something new stands up, untamed, unapologetic, unbreakable. You don't overcome weakness by avoiding it. You overcome it by turning and facing the part of you that let it live. You ask, why did I stay silent? Why did I make peace with my cage? Why did I bow, soften, shrink? And then, without flinching, you declare war on every pattern that once kept you small. Burn the bridge. To old habits, to old approval, to every thought that ever convinced you that your strength was too much. Let the world think you've changed, because you have. You're not here to be healed. You're here to be reborn. This is not self-help. This is self-resurrection. So when they ask what happened to you, don't explain. Don't justify. Just smile and walk forward like a man who torched everything that once held him back. Because now, you are free.